call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I hear any discussion? All those in favor? Celine?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
It goes this way for me tonight, so I always start whoever's in the top and I work my way through, so kind of works that way. So today's date is Monday, September 28th, and the time is 6:04 p.m. and we're opening the Recreation Committee meeting. As a preliminary matter, this is Mike Volpone, Chair of the Newbury Recreation Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. David Brohl.
Affirmative.
David Dempsey is not here as of yet. Celine Muldowney.
Affirmative.
Mark Sand.
Affirmative.
Alessia Greco, excused. No one else from employees or anything else is coming. Anticipated guests. Good evening. Today is Monday, September 28th, an open meeting of the Newbury Recreation Committee, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the constant state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order, hold it, let's see if that's David. No, something else. Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings at a public accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows the public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonably public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment if anybody cares to join. For this meeting, the Newbury Recreation Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the Recreation Committee agenda, which can be found on the Recreation Committee page on the town's website. The agenda identifies how the public may join the meeting. This agenda can also be accessed from the website's home page by clicking on the box that says agendas at the top of the news box. For Zoom meetings, please note that this meeting is being recorded and for some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to share screen your computer unless you're required to do so by me. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Meeting materials. Materials were provided at the board committee meetings prior to the meeting for the review, if applicable, which in this case was the agenda. Mark's minute meetings and his information on the discretionary spending. Meeting business ground rules. We are turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for the effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. For discussion items, I, the chair, will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. Sorry. Everyone other than board members, please remember to mute your phone or your computer when you are not speaking. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablets and cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Take care to not share your screen. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board members will be called upon in first name alphabetical order in case to ease the process. If board members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. We've kind of gone over that before. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. And now the agenda. So, shift this up here. Members present, we've done reading of the previous meeting's minutes. Mark has sent those out. Did anybody have any questions regarding the minutes that were sent?
No.
I thought they were fine.
Yep, they're fine.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All's in favor? Celine?
Aye. Affirmative.
Mark? I don't care either way, whatever's easier. Mark,
Yes, affirmative.
David,
Affirmative.
any correspondence, bills or claims?
We did have a couple bills. I know definitely Gmail, I'm sorry, it's on my other computer that doesn't have a camera. There was definitely a bill from Gmello, and then there was one, I think, from John DiFilippo. It was less than $1,000 for the two bills combined.
Okay.
So overall, our bills are much less.
And you paid that, I presume.
Yeah, I
Or
paid,
approved it, whatever I should say.
yeah, yep.
With Gmail, was that, I think they've only had 1 or 2 pickups.
We haven't had a lot of bills from them. I knew you were I can run over there and check on the other computer if you want me to. Absolutely.
I just want to make sure that they're not charging us for a monthly fee, that we're just doing a
Let me go
on-call.
Let me go check while you guys chat. That's fine.
Okay.
The correspondence that I have, I spoke to Beautiful Yoga this morning. They did not use September because it was too cold for the morning. So I'm working with Lindsay to get that resolved. They supposedly haven't received payment for August of $45, but they're saying that they dropped it. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. Tim Andrews and Joe Colbert from the high school reached out to me asking if they could have JV meets. They had 3 or 4 scheduled home meets that they wanted to use the field. They used to use it before, back in 2013 was the last year they did it, where they would actually skirt the outside wall and go around the field so it would not interfere with the participants that are on the field. So they're looking to see if we can do that, where it's a high school event, there's no charge, no fee, and they're only looking for 3 days to do it. So I'm going to be bringing that up under new minutes, which is the Triton JV cross country use the field for home meets. So just give you a heads up there. And I sent the email to you guys earlier today. When I was going over and putting the schedule together in Excel for Mark to work with Susan with, I noticed a discrepancy in the amount for Triton Youth Soccer. They have Monday through Friday, they have like a day that they say they have for 2.5 hours, but they only counted that one day instead of counting it for 4 or 5 days, depending what was Monday to Friday or Tuesday to Friday. So I let Jason know. I'm just waiting to hear back from him regarding to what the specifics on that are, to make sure we get it clear up. It's about $1,000 difference, and based on their money that we owe them, I mean, we can certainly work it out with them depending on how they want to get it done, but I just wanted to make sure he was aware. That's it for a correspondence that I had.
So Gmello was a 1-month bill for $260 for September, but they haven't billed us the rest of the summer.
So they probably have it set up as a monthly, but they just didn't do it.
That's just the way
June,
the
July
invoice
then.
is set up, yeah.
But I only called them back in, I think I called them once and they were supposed to pick up, they didn't. And then they, that's why Dave, you had sent, Dave Bro, when I indicated I wanted to call them again, you said, yeah, it needs to be picked up because it shouldn't be filled up in less than a week. So they've only picked it up maybe twice. And we were on call. I don't know if the on-call service is more expensive than a regular weekly pickup. Does the bill indicate which one it is?
It just says it's a monthly bill for $260 from September 1 to September 30.
Okay.
So there's no itemization as to how many times that means. It could be something that could be addressed.
Okay.
Anything else on bills, claims, correspondence that I didn't see or whatever? Okay. Old business, the basketball court, Mr. Broll.
Basketball court is a lot of good news. We needed to find out from the designer whether the court location would affect anything to do with the Conservation Commission and with the septic line. I got in touch with the health department. They gave me the original plans for the septic. Gave those back to Chris Huntress, who is the designer. He looked at it, placed it on an inlay. I took that inlay, sent it over to the Conservation Commissioner, and I asked him about it. He got back to me today and said that it looks fine. The only thing that he would like is final plans, just to go over the final plans and okay those. And then he also said one other thing, which is I think is pretty much standard, that they put that silt backing so that any kind of construction stuff doesn't make its way down into off the road into there. I talked to Chris Huntress today, and I hope I didn't go out of turn here, but just to keep things going, I asked him. Michael and I had a discussion with him a couple of weeks ago, and we were going over. Basically, the scenario was that if we do the concrete base, we're going to blow our budget. I don't know if you guys had heard that, but it would be plus $130,000.
Oh, really?
So our
Yeah.
90 plus the 19 plus another 10 to 15 on top of it.
Yeah. So what he ended up saying was that, so we said, well, how much and how long we asked him, what is the longevity of a pavement one? And he
Asphalt.
said, if they do it right, it'd be 25 years. Both concrete and pavement are also going to need some kind of maintenance, either yearly, every 5 years.
I think he said
some
5 to 7 years is what
Yeah.
we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he gave us an idea of saying, okay, well, we can put in a basketball court. He was guesstimating. So his deal is, he said, with that space, plus maybe a little bit more, when he first talked to Mike and I, we might be able to put the full basketball court in with the 6 hoops, with pavement for around $60,000, which is way under budget. And then he said, if you guys have that budget, you might want to think about putting a secondary court, maybe a basketball court with a pickleball court. That kind of changed today because he got back to me when I sent him back the okay from the Conservation Commission. He said that he was thinking about putting the basketball court basically where Mark and I had originally put it, but where his location was, there's a certain area that's set aside for the septic, and it's a perked area, so he doesn't believe that we can use that, but he said there's lots of space on the property that we could probably find to put it in if we want to put a secondary basketball court. I mentioned him to today, if it was possible, since we sold it to the town as having that rubber membrane court, if he could put one of the bids out to have the asphalt base, because what they do is they put down an asphalt and then they put coating on top of it, and then after they do coating, they do kind of the imprint of where the hoops are going to go, blah, 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 blah. I said, is it possible to come up with an estimate to do the pavement base, put a coating on it that they would do, the protective coating, and then have them bid it out to put the rubber membrane and the rubber grid surface on top of that, so that we're still getting that, as Dave Dempsey said, that cushion, that sort of that quality basketball court. And he said, yeah, you could do that. So things went from 0 to 100 miles per hour. They seem to be going in the right direction. Hang on 1 second.
And one thing that he mentioned during the conversation was, because I was asking time frame, and he's like, I go, how long does this normally take? And he said, when are you looking to get it in? I said, I really want to be up and going before the end of the school year in June. He goes, oh, that's easy. I thought you were going to try and tell us you wanted it by the end of November. And so that's good knowing that we have the potential.
Except that we have to put it out to bid to 3 people, right?
Yes, but I mean, if we put it out, it still gets us, even if we send it out for 45, 60 days, that still gets us done, approved, and people start building it in March. He says it's about a 45 to 60 day process. So if he was building in March, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, one thing he also said, which is, it's his service. So what he does is that he builds very large athletic facilities. So this is kind of like, he had done Central Seat Fields, so he has a familiarity with this. And then on top of that, he's also a part-time Newbury resident. He has a place on Plum Island. So he didn't blow us off on this, which is great. And he's been really, really responsive. But what he said to us was basically, he designs, he comes up with the bid formula to put out. And he said, I have six companies that I can use that I can send out. So he'll put it out for, the regular bid, but he also has people. It's not like it just goes out on the town website. He will let 6 developers know that there's a basketball court that needs to be built here. And he said the good thing about that, a lot of these guys do really big places, but this time of year, they're looking for a small filler, either at the beginning of the spring. So he seemed to think that it wouldn't be a problem to get people in, and the price would probably be good. So
Curious if he had any other suggestions for up there too, would be.
I mean, he's the one that he did Central Street, he did the fields. So where they did that, now they have this. It's like, I mean, at least if it gets done. And then he mentioned, David, correct me if I'm wrong, his fee is 8 to 10% of the overall project. So if we had a $90,000 project, his fee would be $9,000, anywhere from $5,400 to $9,000 or whatever it was, $7,200 to $9,000.
I mean, what I could do is I sort of mentioned it. I said that we'd have the discussion tonight about it to see if it was okay to go with him. I don't know. I don't know how we would address that, but I would assume that we should probably have a solid number. And I didn't have a solid number, one, because we were sort of in this process of, he said first things first is get the Conservation Commission to sign off on this. But if we can get him to give us an idea ASAP on sort of and again, I don't know, it may be less than that for his services because he's already got the inlay. He knows where it's going to go. The thing I like about him is, one, I mentioned to Tracy, because I ran into Tracy at the post office. I said, hey, we're thinking about using Chris Huntress. He said, he's a great person. We used him when we did our West Newbury field. So he comes highly regarded from, one, the city of Salem, and then on top of that, our town manager. So, and also he showed up on a Sunday and had a meeting with Michael and I. It was so far, he's been great, responsive. Yeah. I sent him out a text.
And he's a resident.
Holy smokes.
Wasn't mine.
Mine.
I have 2 questions, not presented in any particular order. Whose budget would his services come out of? We talked about it coming out of the town administrator, or would it come out of ours?
I don't know that yet. I know that Tracy had mentioned to me before that there was money in the budget for doing that kind of work, but I have not. I have. It's more like I don't know the proper route, whether he's sort of set up these things and helped us out to this point. So I will give Tracy a call tomorrow and find out if they have money, and I guess maybe the first thing I should do is ask him if, under the scenarios that we're asking him to do, can you give us an idea of what your costs are going to be, so I can go in front of the group and say, either
get an approval,
the town will pay for it, or we'll take it out of our budget, out of the budget that's been budgeted for the basketball court, I would assume.
Good. The second question it's a technical issue, but it seems like there was a change of scope of services from what was proposed at the annual town meeting where the money was appropriated.
Yep.
And we're making a significant change in terms of the base and the foundations of it. Do we need to go back to the town and re-ask for an appropriation?
What are we doing differently?
Instead of putting a concrete base, we were putting in asphalt.
We explained to him the concrete was going to be 25 plus years. The asphalt was 20 to 25 years. So, I mean, we also found out the concrete's substantially more. I mean, we put this on hold. You're talking next April.
I understand that, Michael, but what we proposed to the town that at the meeting was a very specific set of parameters. And I think it's a question of whether the either council or just the town administrator can say, all I'm asking, what she could say is, it's not a change of scope of services.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yeah,
was
I agree with
I-
Mark.
give
I
her
think that
permission
stuff
to do
happens
this
probably
herself,
at the
then go
police
ahead
station.
and say, you asked for money to do X, you're doing Y. Even though it looks the same, it smells the same, there's a
David, can you ask
substantial
Tracy?
difference.
Yeah, I'll talk to Tracy tomorrow, and I'll get in touch with Chris Huntress first thing, ask him for a general price guideline. Then I'll go to Tracy and ask her about the if they have money budgeted to cover that, and if not, it will come out of it. And then I'll also throw in the I don't think I mentioned it to her. I did mention the fact that it was going to be cheaper because of asphalt, and but it was an informal conversation. It wasn't anything that was on the record or anything else. She was picking up mail, and I said, I think we might plan on doing this. So I will talk to her tomorrow and ask her if we have to go, if it's going to be a legal thing, and because we're talking a difference of getting the whole project done for around 60 grand. And so one of the thoughts I had was the initial project was going to be what he was talking about with an asphalt top, an asphalt basketball court for around 60 grand. That's what he thought that it would come into. I asked him because I got in touch with some of these developers that make that rubber grid surface, and the rubber grid surface, the initial cost of that is around $20,000 to $25,000. So what I was thinking, and again, this is, we had those 2 donations that we got, maybe that money, I don't know if we end up giving back that money. If it, I don't know how that works, but if we could do something like, okay, 60 grand for the basketball court, or 50 grand or whatever it may be. And then the rubber surface, which may cost us another 22, 25.
Does that include the fencing and everything though? I mean, and the hoops?
Yes, he said the hoops, right, Mike? He said that he said they would come up with a fencing idea. Basically, what would happen was that the way it would be built would be they would dig into the soil along where the septic liners of the field, and then it would come towards the road area. And I think he talked about fencing. I don't know if did we appropriate money for a fence already or not?
That was in the budget.
Yeah.
It was like $4 or $5 grand. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all preliminary. And I think what will happen is that he will come up with different scenarios, A, B, and C, and put them out to, put them out to bid. And he said that he has 6 companies that he knows of that he could, let them know this is a municipal bid, that they would bid on it. So, but yeah.
Exciting. That's great. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. So it moved around. I hope we don't hit a wall like sometimes we do, but I'm hoping that that it will continue to move at this pace, which would be, imagine having a basketball court in the spring there. I mean, it would just
If we get it by Memorial Day weekend, I'd be over the moon. But as long as it's before July 1, that's in my head right now.
Yep. Especially if it, like I said, if it comes under budget, which is what our plan was anyway. When we brought it to the town, we said, we have money coming in. We're going to try to keep it under budget. So
Keep in mind though, the initial numbers came from our numbers from West Newbury, which is the same guy that you're talking to.
I think that field was, I think that,
Oh. Can you guys hear me? Because Mark can't.
I can.
You can't hear me?
I can.
Now I can.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah.
Mark. I don't know what happened. I'm not touching anything here.
No, I just
No.
lose service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, he.
Just throwing
I mean,
it out there.
Yeah, and he, if it comes, I mean, we still have to approve the amount one way or another, but, the fact that, his expertise, he seems to know, that's what he does for a living. So I felt, I mean, I think you probably felt the same way, Michael. You were
I
very
did.
confident with the way he handled it and the direction that he is like, yeah, you know, this, he knew exactly what we were talking about. And then when I brought up the concrete base, which I did a couple times, he said that would be significantly higher. So we're talking, because we said to him that we had 90 plus, so I
19.
think we told him like 109,000 to spend
Yeah.
on it. And
I think we lost Mark again.
we did.
Oh, there he is
I'm
back.
Okay. That at $109,000, which we had, it still wouldn't come, you know, he was talking close to 100, 135 once you add in.
And that's
What was
not
that
even
number
adding his,
again?
then you add his fee.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they did in West Newbury. That's why it was so much more expensive.
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm just.
I mean, the idea was when he was saying it, because the concrete may last you an extra 5 years, but is it worth twice the price for 5 more years? And both are going to still need to be treated and everything. So I think just get an idea from Tracy if it's a big issue that we need to do it, because having the ability to get all this done and in the time frame certainly makes it worthwhile, especially if we're on the budget. Because if, I mean, realistically, if you're talking, let's say 60 for the court, another 20 for the rubberized material, you're at 80. You add his fee in, if it's 10, there's 88. Then you take the 19 back off, you're at 69 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be, I mean, and it's done. I mean, everything's done, fence, everything all set up. Then I think we're in pretty decent shape.
Yep. I think we lost Mark.
No, we're still in quorum right now, but he's starting taking our minutes, so he's going to kind of keep an eye on it. Here he comes back.
Yeah.
Mark's back. You didn't
Mark,
miss anything.
You might have to get out of the dial-up method. You know, the AOL bing, 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 bing. Can you hear me?
No.
He's
Okay. Good.
you're on mute, Mark.
Oop.
Now we lose the video, but now he's still.
There
no,
you
he's
go.
back.
Let me,
Yay.
oh, there we
Here
go.
we
All
are.
right.
All right. So David, you're gonna reach out to Chris and find out the fee. You're gonna get in touch with Tracy, find out if they've got the fee available to pay for it, or is it gonna come out of our budget? And then and also talk to her about whether if it's okay if we switch from from concrete to asphalt, where the time frame it still is a 25-year thing compared to probably closer to 30. And
Yep.
but it's half the price.
It's more than just the concrete. I thought what we asked for was a specialized rubberized membrane.
That's still being added.
Yeah,
It's still in the budget.
Yeah.
The big difference is the cost of the concrete versus the asphalt
I
regarding to the
understand
base. But the quartz being added, yes, it's still in the
Yeah. So essentially, the way I'm going to present it to him to give the way that we'd like, you know, he was going to put out for bid an asphalt surface with the painted lines and hoops. Then he was going to do, you know, asphalt surface, painted hoops, and a pickleball court. And then he was going to do, I mentioned to him if we could go with a asphalt surface and get a quote on putting down the actual rubber membrane. So that we have 3 different quotes coming out there and we can go that direction. And then I will let Tracy know what, you know, what we talked about at town hall and what we're looking at now and if it's okay to do.
Okay. Again, and just want to emphasize the first 3 bids he puts out there is not conforming to what we asked for money. We asked for money, so they're sort of moot. To use asphalt and then add rubber, is that going to be 2 separate bids? Or is that going to be
No,
one
no,
contract?
what he's going to do. Yeah, he'll do one bid with 3 different scenarios in it. And so I don't know exactly because right now we're so much at the prelim, but basically his expertise is in this. And so he said to us, the whole idea with the concrete surface, it's not bad, but it's really, really pricey. So if we can get this close to being the same amount of longevity out of it and save the town, if it's apples for apples going, let's say 80 grand versus 130 grand, that's $50,000 savings. What would happen is that if we go this direction right now, if we stay with the concrete base and maybe we're screwed and we have to go back to town hall and ask for money again, which I think, or town meeting, we're looking at taking probably 30 grand, no, not 30, probably 20 grand out of our budget to we're going back into the world of the field house where we sold the field house on, we were going to do this, this, and this, and then they ended up doing all that extra, and that extra came out of our budget.
Which we could do instead of going back to the town and saying, we'll take the money out of the budget like we had to do with the roof.
Yeah.
Roof's a different issue. That's a maintenance issue. And the fire was never part of the scope of services of the plan. It's just we're sort of changing from it's almost as if we said we're going to be putting a portion and we're going to end up with a nice Impala.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
They're going to last the same. It's just, again, we need
let's leave it with David. David, touch base with Tracy and find out if she's got an issue. Then we'll get back. We're going to meet together again in a couple of weeks, and we'll keep, because we need to keep this moving. So if she's got an issue and we got to do it, then we got to talk about. Add it to the equation. If we had to stay with concrete, could we take the money out of the budget? And there's some question to that. I'll send you an email when this is over, just so you have that, okay?
Okay.
Make your life a little easier. Yeah,
no, I'll see, depending on when she's available and stuff like that, I'll try to get this all done tomorrow.
Okay. Next in the list, the online calendar and website assistance from the town. Mark, you sent that over to Susan this afternoon.
Yes. Is there any other information we want to put on? Again, just to refresh people's memory, I sent over the calendar we got today, seeing if that's the format that works best for her, or if there's a better way that might read better from her perspective. But if there's a way in which we can get what fields are being used at what time, it's not so important by whom, but that way if people needed or wanted to use a field because it's public space, they can say, oh, Tuesdays at 3, field 5A is available.
Can I comment?
Yep.
So this was a project we were working on right up until COVID hit. She was looking at various calendars because that was always the concept, was to be able to schedule things online and book it that way. Obviously, the whole spring, I want to say semester, but that's not the right word. Spring season got canceled and they weren't in the office. So it's been bumped, with her doing the online Zoom meetings, it's so bumped down the scale. So that is the plan. I saw what you sent out, but I literally came in from an appointment 15 minutes before this meeting, so I didn't really have a chance to really look at what you sent out. That's all I have to add.
Yeah, what I sent out was just simply what Michael had sent us today, the Excel spreadsheet with the calendar. And I think the idea is to make it available to the public. Other places I work with,
everyone's been fed.
They end up sending it to the police and or say DPW, so everybody's aware of the schedule. So if there is a
certainly the goal, Mark, pre-COVID, that we were on the path for that.
Yeah, and we're going to continue on that path until it's done. It doesn't-
Susan was
Well-
looking at different calendar sites for us.
I understand. I've had my conversations with her.
I sent something to her today. My wife and I were walking last night and just happened, a conversation came up. She is a teacher in the Newburyport School District and mentioned a site, Wix, Wix.com, that's used. And it could be a little easier. It's not expensive. And you can actually be able to make reservations and make the payments to it. And the question is whether it could be integrated with the town. So I sent Susan, said, here's the website. Let me know what you thought. I know it's going to be down the line, but at least gives them a thought. I also let her know that my daughter was a journalism major in New York at school and used this software, and it helped set up a lot of stuff. And she actually did it in Amesbury for their Chamber of Commerce. So she's used it with them as well. So it's an idea where I'm not talking about an expense, at least, or I could determine whether we want to get to that. If we got to that, I'd have to step aside. But something that can be possibly used to do the online service, be able to pay for it and get it. Because when I was looking at those hours, I'll give Triton Youth Soccer a lot of credit because they were cutting back hours from 4:30 to 7, 4:30 to 6:30, 4:30 to 6, 4:30 to 5:30, then 4 to 5. So they were doing it. But I'm like, I understand, but there's still time from 3 to 4:30, some of those days or whatever, that we can look about. If someone only wanted to go down for half an hour or an hour, wanted to rent a field to do something, they could do it before the other fields because these guys have got it blocked during these times. So I want to make sure we have opportunities to maximize as much as we can. And I think a website, if that is something that is compatible, that can be integrated into the town, that we could use, would certainly be a good idea. Thoughts? Okay. Next thing on the list, Mark, just let me know what you can hear back from Susan, and I will as well. I copied everybody in the email when I sent it to her, so we'll go from there. Spending in the operating plan. Mark, this is your baby. I'm gonna let you start because you have a laundry list of things, and I've got a couple on mine, and I'm not sure who else had ideas or thoughts.
Michael, could you send them out so we can collate them and have a documentation of it? Again, most businesses and municipalities, agencies work from a budget. Doesn't mean it's hard, fast, and inoperable. Things do change, but we do need to, it is in our best interest to start encumbering our funds for a variety of projects so that we are fulfilling our duties and responsibilities. And there's a couple of different issues with that, but the reason I send so many out there is we can pick and choose. We can get paperwork started on some of them. If we don't want something, that's fine too, but we need to get a list. And again, we're approaching midway of the first quarter is completed. I know we don't have necessarily all the expenses going forward, but that's why you.
We just lost him. Celine, if he wants me to share this, I'm going to need you to give me the access to do it. I can't. I don't know. I think he was trying to get me to put them up on the screen, and I don't have access to them. I can't share the screen. So
I'm gonna do that. Here.
I'm sorry,
if
I missed all that.
if not, we all got it. Mark sent it to all of us 4:45 tonight. There's 4 that he gave us a blank form. I've never heard of Gaga Ball, so I had to read that a little bit. Replace the decking in the trail. Is that in addition to, Mark, the one the Boy Scout already put up on there?
Okay, all right. That's a different one. The Boy Scouts put one in about 10, 12 years ago. Down,
They put one in
okay, can I
within
finish?
the past year.
Can I finish?
Different location.
Okay,
Different
that's what I was asking.
location.
That's fine.
That DPW received a number of complaints because it was just PT sitting on the water, and they got a number of complaints it being a safety issue, so they removed it to put an appropriate boardwalk there. And then what was the other ones, Michael?
All right, the first thing you had on there was the Gaga Ball. I'm gonna let you talk about that.
I think-
Gaga Ball,
Go ahead.
low expense, designed for younger kids. I know when Mariah was on the board, she, when she worked at the Salisbury Elementary School, they had one back there, was really excited about it. Designed for younger kids. It's, you go into a octagon, and it can be made out of PT, it can be made out, it can be inflatable, with a small bouncy ball. And the idea is kind of, it's sort of,
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, he keeps losing. We keep losing him. I had never heard of it before. I mean, I get the form right here.
Here's back.
I can't share
Well, I
it.
think, can I just,
Please.
Mark, I appreciate your diligence in doing this, but I have a hard time getting the form filled out at 5:15.
I agree.
And then,
It's just-
but without a description, so I think it would be easier if, I don't care about the form, I care more about the description of what it is, the concept that you want us to fund. And then we can fill out the form later. So, I mean, I'm just trying to scroll through this all right now. Again, I was on appointment, so I'm,
Well, it came to everybody within the sufficient time to adequately review. And the
Oh, yeah?
idea was, yeah. I
you
recognize.
don't know my world.
Well, we're all busy. And the
Yeah, I know.
idea is, we've been asking for this, been asking for it. We're not moving on it. So at least this is part of the agenda tonight. We have some stuff, documentation. People can see some of the ideas, so we're not replicating ideas. If people like what they see, they can look at it, do some investigative work on their own, and maybe we can start prioritizing and/or allocating funds for it. That's all I was
So
trying to do.
I just want to say,
ball
Mark, I
rolling.
appreciate your efforts, but when we do a meeting 4 weeks out or 3 weeks out and you send documents the
Anybody?
day of and expect me to review, it's not going to happen. It's the same
Okay.
thing as a client telling me they want to look at a house in 2 hours.
I'm not asking you to do it today.
It's a wish
was-
list.
No, but you're
It's a
asking me to
wish-
talk about it tonight, and
No, it
I
wasn't
think-
necessarily to talk about it.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
hold on,
fine.
everybody.
It was,
Hold on.
here's,
I think the idea was Mark's providing us information, examples. It's a wish list.
Okay.
It's something we're all looking to do. If anybody had the chance to look at it and had questions, I had asked, I said, I don't know what a Gaga Ball is. And then regarding to the trail, I wasn't sure if he was referring to the one the Boy Scout did. That was what the discussion was about. It wasn't about, yes, we're going to go forward with it, because we
Yeah.
still have things. It's like, I want to talk about a pergola. I want to talk about a kayak trail. And I don't know if that actually duplicates what Mark was talking about. So these are things we can certainly bring up, but it wasn't an idea to say, yeah, we're going to vote and discuss the whole thing, because we don't have the money yet and we don't know where we're going to be. Am I
Okay.
pretty close to that, Mark?
yes. And again, what I said at the last meeting, the idea is if there's something that we'd like, we can encumber the money, not spend it, but just set it aside. And if it needs to go through the Conservation Commission, we can get that paperwork done. And that paperwork can last for a couple of years. But if in March we realize we have $20,000 to spend, it would be great to say, okay, let's do this and make the acquisition, and we're done with it, as opposed to getting to March saying we have $20,000 and, oh, what do you want to do? Whose approvals do we need? We can get everything in order.
Yeah.
Because it may be nothing. None of these may be of anybody's interest, and that's okay.
No, I think the skating idea is a good idea, but
Well,
we
sorry,
also
but
ran
we
a-
already approved it twice.
yeah, but it's gotta, I think it can't be at the library because of what our charge is right now. So,
Well, there's and I'll get a little bit more into that regarding Kent Way. There might be some flexibility.
yeah.
Then
okay.
why don't we shift right to Ken Way right now then, Mark?
Okay,
Everybody's seen the list that he has. I'm going to fill out my form. Thank you for the blank form that Mark had sent in there as attachment. I'm going to fill mine out and I'll bring it to the next meeting and say, here's what I think. Here's 2 ideas that I'm looking at. Here's a rough expected cost, and we'll go from there. I mean, nothing's in stone, but we can certainly get an idea. But Mark, why don't you go right to Kent Way then, since that's the next thing.
Alicia and I met with the town administrator to discuss the possibilities of Kent Way. Essentially, she's open to the idea. One of the proposals was to, as we've discussed, Dave and I have discussed, the stepped approach where we get a access road beginning to get cleared, and then determine what next steps would be, what would be the area be used for. She was going to reach out to the Conservation Commissioner. He and I were supposed to take a walk. Don't know when that's going to happen. See what we're talking about. They were going to try to pull out the old plans to see what was originally proposed. And again, that was 2 baseball fields, 3 basketball courts, a skateboard park, a kiosk for sign, and a shed. And seeing how much a basketball court costs today, and trying to put 3 of them in over the next 10 years, that'd be a lot. But if we get it cleared and we have open space where more fields could be used for auxiliary purposes, or baseball could be in there, that would be great. The idea is to try, again, reach out to baseball, softball, to see what, if baseball fields are where one of the directions we want to go, which is one of the needs that was listed in the community needs, what size fields would be adequate for them.
Yeah, even like you were saying, Mark, even if we were able to do that initial road and then clear out that whole area and have it available for soccer stuff, when we were doing youth softball for the elementary school, if we just had a field to play on, any field that, to put down bases, that would be wonderful. So yeah.
And it could stay in the open field for as long as we need it to be. But again, during the seasons, people could access it. It might be, as I threw out to the town manager as well as Alicia, it's about 5 acres, a little over 5 acres, closer to 6, with parking for 55. There's adequate space for putting, if people want gardens, if they want a dog run. If a dog run went in there, it would make it easier to ask people, require people, demand people not to have dogs on the fields. But there would be a place where people could run their dogs, even if it was a big fenced in area like they have down in Danvers and other towns. Something to consider. So right now it's up to Tracy to reach out and talk to the Conservation Commission. I did ask, because technically Martha Pearson Field is not part of our jurisdiction at this time. It would be kind of awkward if we put 2 baseball fields in and they needed to go through us to administer the schedule for that, but not Pearson Field. So there'd be it'd be sort of nebulous about whose jurisdiction the fields would be under.
All right, so right now, Mark, the big thing we're trying to do, because we know we can't do anything at this point until we hear back from Tracy, right?
Well, here's what I was alluding to earlier.
I'm trying to cut this down. Mark, we still have a lot of meeting left and we got 37 minutes. That's what I'm trying to make sure we can work through this.
Well, what I was trying to convey, and what led us to this, was that the ice skating rink, instead of putting it up at Mantra Field, where there is no supervision, the original plan was to put it down on the Martha Pearson Field, where they could use the dugouts to put skates on and run the boards to the field and use the fence for part of the support. And again, the library would be ecstatic to have that as a draw, and they'd be able to provide a warming station and maybe sell hot chocolate. But there's a connection with them, and that was sort of, go ahead.
I agree. I think that the most efficient way to do this is to put your thoughts and your down so that we can read it in advance and then discuss it in a more succinct way. Instead of, like now all of a sudden we're talking about an ice rink again, and
That was the example about the jurisdiction of where things would go. So
I mean, we could, I like the idea of doing an ice rink, and I know this is probably going to screw up our thing, but I'll make it real quick. If we decide to do an ice rink and that whole idea, we have to put it on, at this point, we know our privy is the
yeah, we're always behind
fields.
the 8 ball.
So
Yeah.
we could buy it for the fields, use it there, and then if plan B, if we get Kent Way, we can move it over there. That's if we decide that, we want to appropriate that money this year. And then we'll at least have the infrastructure to move, so.
Okay.
I feel like we're always reactive instead of proactive.
Well, that's part of the thing that, I don't know why we can hear. That's part of the thing that Mark's idea was to bring.
Can you hear now, Mark?
yep. When I put the sign down, I got sound back.
Oh, okay. So what I said is I feel like we're more reactive than proactive.
Well, I've been asking for a spending plan for years now. So yeah, we're always going to be that until we get on the ball to.
Well, that's shifted. The dynamic has shifted quite a bit. So.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting ideas together. We had to spend all the time with the field house. We had to spend all the time with all the stuff from the charge, and then we've got the field house done. Now we've got the basketball court. Now that's moving. So it is a little reactive in regards to try to help things out, and it's working in a better direction. So we are trending in the right way. It's just taking us a little longer than we wanted. But again, we all started off fresh 4.5 years ago. Latest health update, field availability for the bathrooms. We still do not have access, and I sent everybody the quote. It was $970 to put a handicap bathroom from Reds on the field.
Was that for the season?
No, that was per month.
That's ridiculous.
The
But
regular
I have to
bathroom was
say-
$670. So it was, we're only putting the one handicap just so we have it there.
There's a whole COVID money-making aspect to this.
Yep.
I'm not saying that
Yep.
Reds is doing it, but I know that,
But they also have to charge to clean, get it done too daily. So that could be the extra piece.
yeah, that's true. Agreed.
Where normally they wouldn't be doing it out there. I don't know. I don't know how often they normally would have serviced it, but if they're servicing it every day or morning and evening or whatever they're doing, I can see the added expense being there. It's a question, do we want to spend almost $3,000? Really, not even quite that, because now you're talking the end of October is 1 month. If we call them and sit here and start it in October, November, you're talking 6 weeks. It costs us about $1,800, $1,900.
And that's per season, right?
That's just for
Another
the
season.
fall. And then you're talking, depending what happens come April, then you're talking April, May, June, 3 more months. So now you're talking 3,000 there. So $5,000 for the year for a handicap bathroom, fiscal year.
Yes.
And people are going to be like, why did we build the field house? And I said, because that expense is going to be $25,000 to $30,000 because we'd have to clean it because of regulations.
Well, that was a lot of things have changed since COVID, so.
Yeah, and
Well, Merrimack College just shut down and Salem State's not far behind it, according to the latest rumors going on that I've been hearing. But
So-
Merrimack shut down today.
quick question. Do you think that, I thought that there was a question that the DPW would be in charge of cleaning the bathrooms eventually? I thought there
Yes.
was that. So
Tracy did say that. The question is still, what's it going to cost us? So will we get a deal on that? I hope.
well,
But
I would
if
assume
you're
that
still
it would-
talking, what if you're talking half?
I
12,
would-
13 grand?
I would assume that it wouldn't be charged to us. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
You think
Oh,
so?
we're getting charged for the fields. What's the difference in them getting charged for the field house, getting cleaning? They're doing that. They're going to charge us for that too. I just don't know how much it's going to cost a week to do it.
Well, they're gonna have to if they make progress with this bathroom on the island, who are they gonna charge to clean the bathroom on the island? You know what I mean? So that's why I wondered if this is going to sort of fall into that category where
No,
they'll
this will
have
fall under
two.
I'll be shocked if it's not in our budget.
Okay. I'll mention it to her tomorrow because
Yeah. If you find out good news, I'll be the first person to be excited about it. But I'm in my mind, the budget wise, I'm expecting if we put them on, it wouldn't be till the spring. You're gonna figure it's gonna be at least $6 to $8 grand, if not more.
Okay.
My reading of the tea leaves is the idea was pre-COVID that they would be able to go in once a week and clean them. During the COVID here, interest of safety and convenience for our patrons, they're trying to do things once a day. I don't think DPW has the capacity right now to clean it once a day, so it's sort of moot. So my question is, do we want to go for the fall at least, and for the next 7 weeks, and provide a service to our patrons as a courtesy for the fee of about $5,000?
Well, really, they would only be for 6-7 weeks. It only cost us about 19, a little under $2
Okay.
grand. Yeah, I was
All right,
Mark when I
no,
was
that's
doing.
okay.
I added the 3 months to the spring in case we had to
Yep.
go to that direction.
Yep.
So. All right. So do I hear a motion to agree to put in a handicap bathroom at Central Street Fields from October through the end of the season, which is halfway through November?
I make the motion to allocate the necessary resource to provide a handicap bathroom at the Central Street Fields for our paying permit user, well, for all to use, but particularly those who are providing service games there.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
all right, a real quick one. I don't want to make this long because we'll bring this meeting until 9:00. Are they surviving right now without it, or do you think it's just a bad idea to? I mean, we've gone. What is everyone's thought?
5 weeks. We've gone 5 weeks without it.
So what's everyone's thought on it? Do you think we should, provide it? Do you think that? I mean, I need some input from people to say, yeah, it's a good idea.
It's
Mark,
a
I think it's a.
I understand it's a courtesy, but I think people are in and out of there pretty quickly, so. But agreed. I'm
Yeah,
not-
I look at it as the same logic. They could do without the field house, but we have it. So it's a courtesy, it's a short-term live. It would be nice to have it for the season. I think the fall will, the spring, there'll be more activity. We may find out, and use this as a beta test, may find out that this is more hassle than it's worth. And then we can say, look, we tried it and it's getting trashed. We can't clean it. It's too expensive. At least we've made the effort and we can show that, hey, we see that there might be a need, but we just can't do it.
Okay.
Any other
Okay.
discussion? Okay, all those, or Celine? Yes or no?
Affirmed.
Mark?
Firm.
David?
Affirm.
I will ask Tracy to get a handicap bathroom brought down from Reds. Through the end of, starting October 1st, hopefully get it done before the end of the week. And then for October and November, they're not gonna split the fee, so we're gonna have it there for the time. So for October, November.
We can just say the November date would, because
Last date is November 14th is last date.
yeah, so we can have them pull it then, so we don't get charged for the whole month.
I think they're gonna charge us for the whole month either way, but if they don't, then great.
Okay.
So why don't we
Well,
just?
we
why don't
should
we
ask
just-
them.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the email to Tracy. I'll copy the group.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. It'll be done either tonight or tomorrow. Budget and purchase availability, which we kind of started talking about with the spending plan. Use of small area near field. Oh yeah, this was from Sphinx. They were trying to get more field for for like 2 afternoons a week. So they came back and they said, can we use the area near field 5B for the season? And they pay us. But it's not like it's a sectioned off area. So I was like, my concern is Triton Youth Soccer's in the area. And I know Jason and Mo get along. Would they be okay with it? Should I talk to them? But I wanted to bring it up here with you guys first before we went anywhere.
In years past, even this past spring, during the period of time, either inclement weather or when the field conditions are less than desirable, both the club program and the town program would do some of their activities just off to the side so they're not, as stewards of the field, not jeopardizing the integrity of the field. I'm not saying that they would go over down to the hump at the far behind the tree or behind on the other side of the road, but they would go to the sidelines and kind of expand out so that they can have less wear and tear on the fields.
So the question is, are we okay with it, or am I okay to run it by Jason and say, hey, they want to come over and they want to use the field area 2 days a week during the week. Do you have a problem with it? And if you don't, then we can do it and charge them the $15 for the couple of hours he uses each day for the whatever. I mean, you're probably talking about 2 hours, 4 hours a week, $60 a week for probably another month and a half. So worst case scenario, you're talking probably $900, if it's even that.
It's not the finance. I would make sure our other users are not being impeded.
Well, that leads me to, I just realized if they take that field area, that's going to bring us into the next conversation regarding Triton Youth Soccer. I mean, Triton Youth JV cross country. They're going to want to be able to run on the edge of the field.
They're out though, aren't they?
What do you mean they're out?
They got approved to have a season, so they're out. Wasn't there an email about that?
Yes, they are, but the JV team is looking for three
Oh, I'm sorry.
home
Okay.
dates where they want to use the outside of the field and then run up the backside to the school as their course. And they wanted to make sure it was okay with us. I said, there's no fee because they're part of the school system. And they're only looking for 3 dates. Is it a big deal? I wanted to run it by the committee before I ran it by saying, are we okay with it? And if we are, then I'll run it by, let the 3 organizations know, or the 2 organizations, because they only impact them. I said, Triton JV cross country is going to be using the fields on these dates for home matches. They'll be running on the outside, and that'll be it. So there.
Last year, 2 years ago, we had a conversation about reciprocity with the Triton school system, about using their fields when ours were wet, or them using ours when theirs were wet. And Alicia made it abundantly clear that any agreement between a Triton regional school system and the use of that fields needs to go through the Board of Selectmen.
I'll let Tim know. He can reach out to them.
Yeah, we can say we have no objections to it, but they have to give the final approval because it's
I'll copy Alicia on the email and with Tim and everybody here and just say, we voted as committee, but we've been told this has got to go through the Board of Selectmen, so you're going to have to reach out to them as well.
Yeah.
I've copied Alicia Greco on this, so she'll have visibility into it. All right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Give me 1 second. Okay. We talked about the Mellow situation. We're okay there. The other thing I had on the list was, go ahead.
Mello, do you want to do a weekly pickup, or do you want to keep it call every couple of weeks? I mean, I don't know what they're charging us per week versus per call.
They're just charging us per month.
So we can
So
just
it
say
doesn't
pick
matter
it
how
up.
many times they pick us up. They're going to charge us $267 if they pick up
That's the
once.
invoice I'm getting is per month.
All right, so I'll call them up and have them do it every week and let DPW unlock it. I don't think it's locked now, but okay.
You're going to handle that, Mark?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just for I put this on here, this last piece, the initial discussion on spring sports and possibly not enough time and field availability. So we have Triton Youth Soccer. We're going to have Triton Youth Lacrosse. We're going to have Rush Soccer. We're going to have Sphinx. We're going to have possibly a football league want to get time. That's 5 groups that have already sent emails already about this.
All right, so we need to get the calendar. That puts the fire under Susan Noyes for getting that like, this has to happen.
But it also, if we can get this where we can reserve times and say, you're going to grab this. And they're like, well, why am I paying for it now? Our season's not done. I said, well, you're going to have to start grabbing because we got people all of a sudden are grabbing time.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of the grab your time and then get to change it. I never understood that concept. I understood the concept of, you know, people not knowing exactly what their schedules were, but, you know, I think it gives them a little bit more accountability rather than just being able to do whatever they want.
Well, some of that is the hiccups of transitioning from the per player to the per hour. It was the first time they had to do that. 2 field policy permits ago, we were asking them to send, basically make a notice of intent to use by December and a general idea of their hours. And have it was a mid-January deadline so that we could see everybody whoever applied and be able to work with them to assure maximum capacity. We've changed that now so it becomes much later for them, giving them a shorter time frame. The second part is we also have a priority list that we should be following about who gets the field and for how much. One of the reasons it was at a per player, and I'm not asking to change it, but some of the understanding the rationale would help understand how we can maybe approach it going down, is if a program only had 5 kids, they can't afford as much as a program that has 100 kids, as many hours on a per hour basis. So the idea was, at the time, lacrosse didn't have the program that it had. In fact, it was a lot bigger than it is now. So the idea is they could have adequate time to cover all their teams.
So I agree with that concept, but on the flip side, you had the people who had the money and the players abusing the amount of time they were renting the field. So I don't see that one system is better than the other. I think there's a compromise to both.
I'm not, the question
No, I'm
was
just-
when or not.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
question was,
Yep.
it makes it harder, and that's why they did it the way one of the reasons why they went to that system.
Mhm.
We may not be able to fit everybody on, and we have to look at our priorities that we set off in our policy, field use policy. And if they've been regular users, they get a priority over people who haven't used it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting.
Again,
This is why I brought this topic up, because it's, I mean, I know we've had Rush and Triton Youth Soccer, and then for the spring, Triton Youth Lacrosse. They've been our big ones for that. But now all of a sudden, Sphinx is going to ask for, I don't think they're going to go crazy, but they're going to ask for a couple of days and a Sunday, so they're not looking for anything major. The football thing, they were looking for like a Sunday. So I don't think their hours are going to be too much. But the question is, would someone say, if I don't get my hours, I'm leaving, I'm taking it all? Then the question is, how do we want to approach that?
And the other thing was that it used to be GPS. It's a whole new ball of wax. I mean, it's a new corporation. It's a new group. Even though they were they're under the same guides, they're not. They're a whole new entity. So they're essentially coming on new. And I'm one of these people, and I will get shot down about this, but there's eventually, in order to make this work, we're going to have to bring our prices up. So
We said we wouldn't touch it for 2 years.
Yep.
We promised our people, so we still have January of next.
One more year.
Following. Yeah, January of 2022 is when we can, if we're going to make a change.
Well, again, yes, I don't know.
I put it on the agenda because I wanted people to know this is what's happening. So
Yeah.
we're gonna need to kind of,
So we need to just get the calendar going sooner rather than later with Susan.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we're going to get jammed in the spring from the lack of use in the fall.
And then
So-
again, are all the fields, I mean, I drive by every once in a while and I'll see 2 fields being used out of all of them. So, you know, is
They're
it
not
still the
right
same
now. They're
situation?
not all. They're
Okay.
not all
They're
reserved.
not all booked? No, okay. All right. cool.
no, Monday to Friday, their schedule's booked. I got Triton Youth Soccer and I have Rush, but they're not used until, like, Triton Youth Soccer, I think this week is 4 to 5:30, and Rush is listed 5 to 7.
Yeah.
So there's nothing right after school, but they're booked every day, Monday to Friday during those days.
Yeah. I don't know.
Again, I put it on there just so everybody sees it, and it's something that we're going to have to kind of talk about in the short time, because everybody's going to start asking already, when can I put my applications in? So as Celine said in the beginning, this is now going to have to we're going to have to get with Susan a little bit more and create a little sense of urgency on here. Hopefully that'll help.
Okay. Again, obviously, you know, the Triton youths probably have priority over everyone. And then after that, ping pong balls or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Roll the dice.
But I don't remember if I said this a couple weeks ago, and if I did, I apologize for repeating myself. Kent Way, by the way, Triton Youth Soccer said to me, if we were getting to a point where we think we could do something, they would get together and help us. And I think that meant more from a financial standpoint. So it's an idea that's keep in the back of your mind that if we can turn this into soccer, if we go to baseball or something else, they're not going to participate. But if we want to make more soccer area, they've got some people lined up supposedly. I was
So,
going to
but
get into
isn't
it.
it a multi-use facility? I mean, I'm excited that they offered, but I hesitate making I mean, how long is that commitment? Only to soccer, you know?
Yeah, that's the question. Because they're looking for a more dedicated place that they can do their thing. And maybe that would be it. I don't know. It all depends on the space. I've never been over to Kent, so I've never seen it all. So I don't know how big everything is over there.
I go back to Mark had the great idea about just clearing the thing out, planting some grass down, and you know, if we can,
Seeing where it goes.
yeah, I mean, it's a great idea.
I agree with that. I think that's a good plan.
That's all I have on the agenda.
Make a motion to, what's that thing called? Adjourn the meeting?
No, let's plan the next one.
Yes. I have the calendar
Sorry.
sitting in front of me for the town. It won't be that long. We're not doing the 12th because it's Columbus Day. That would be 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. So it's either the 19th or the 26th. They're both Mondays.
I'm away the 19th.
Something special?
No.
Okay.
Just taking a vacation.
I'm going away the weekend before Columbus Day weekend.
I don't know what that means. I wish I
Well, I
understood that.
haven't taken one since January, and I think if I don't, I'm not going anywhere. I just might.
So do we want to go the
26th.
Is everybody okay? The 26th okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Celine, you good? David?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the 26th, huh?
26, 6 to 7:30.
26.
I'll be saving on the calendar as soon as I get done. Actually, I'm probably gonna have dinner, then I'm gonna go do it. But all right, so I
Now
have a
can I make a
motion.
motion?
You can make the motion now.
Motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:18.
Second.
Right here, I didn't hear that. I was kind of caught on my ear.
I'm surprised Mark is like, he
I know, and
must have dinner waiting for him.
I was
I just
Do
don't
I
want
hear
you
any
to cut out
do I
again.
hear any discussion?
None.
All right.
We could talk about why Mark motioned it if we wanted to.
Celine,
We got a turkey breast waiting in the next room. I'm like,
Celine, are you approving of this or just how are you voting, Celine?
I said it, I seconded it. Oh, I affirmed.
Yes. David?
Affirmative.
Mark?
I don't like that word.
Affirmative.
I hate to, it's either yes or no as far as I'm concerned, but that's where they
feels
have
like
it written down. I
Star
hear the
Trek.
meeting now called adjourned at 7:18 PM. Thank you all until our next meeting on Monday, October 26th at 6 PM, which will send out the information. So all the people that are listening, welcome to the enjoyment we have here.
Yeah.
Be well, everybody.
See you guys.
Same.
Bye.
All right.